Hi guys, how are you? So nice to connect to you. My name is Laura. This is Pleiadian Healer from PleiadianHealer.com, and welcome to this video. So I am going to do a little mini series of a few videos, and it's going to start with this one. So I'm not really sure how long it's going to be, but I'm basically just going to share insight of sessions that I've had with clients and what came through. And some of these clients were actually also former clients of some of the psychics that were on the list to be reviewed. The first one we're going to start off with is Lisa Renee from Energy Synthesis. So we'll pull up her website too quickly. But basically, this is the series is going to highlight why these psychics don't give sessions anymore and what type of damage they've done to these people. So we're going to start it off with Lisa Renee because she was the first one where I actually had clients about a year ago, back in 2021. Not sure when you're going to see this video. So I would say around the fall of 2021. And it was two clients. So it was actually a couple, a man and a woman. And I'll share insight on both people. And they were former clients of this person, Lisa Renee. Energy Synthesis is her website and everything. So people have asked me, hey, why don't you review her and yada yada. And I'm like, it's like a throat blockage coming through while I'm even talking. They don't want anyone to speak out against any of these people. I haven't reviewed her material yet. I might make a separate review video on it. You see a lot of this New Age symbology right here, right? Like you have these multiple stars and whatnot. You have like this chakra colored whatever. So even her website has a lot of codings and encodings that are going to affect you energetically for sure. They're going to pull you in this lower vibrational thing that the New Age wants you in. You know, the New Age is always about love and light and going from 3D to 5D, the ascension trap, but it's not true. Like all of these things, you know, like the symbols that we just saw, all of those symbols are meant to drag you into more of this lower thing and to keep you trapped there. And a lot of trauma victims fall for the New Age too because of that, because they keep recycling their trauma experiences over and over again with the New Age. So Lori Ladd, Full Good, all of these people, possibly also Magenta Pixie, all of these people are a good example of how, you know, former or still trauma victims are making their money off of recycling their traumas over and over again in their so-called teachings or whatever. And people who had a trauma are going to attract other trauma victims, which is also why those people are attracted to their teachings and whatnot. So anyhow, this is Lisa Renee. I'm trying to make this thing a little bit larger too. And so I was contacted, you know, this is right after I was featured on Project Camelot, and I might air that video on this channel again too. I'm not 100% sure at this point, but basically I was contacted by all these people who are in a whole different psyop. Let's put it that way. You know, they're in the psyop of certain people, a certain person, a former leader or whatever is still in control of this reality. You know, the person who was in charge of the US from 2016 to 2020, and that he's coming back and all of that. So they're kind of like on a different spectrum than some New Agers are. And a lot of those people were kind of in between the truther community and the New Age community. So it was an interesting mix just to see a lot of these psyops play out in different ways. But ultimately, it's always a psyop about give your power away to these random people to either channel information or truthers, just like the Archaics crowd too, who, you know, spent like 30 plus years in prison, but yeah, they definitely know what's going on because they're elevated onto these God pedestals and whatnot. So that's basically the type of people that were attracted to my site and my former channel too, which was taken down, by the way, with a whole lot of followers than we have now. But basically they were attracted to it. And so 2021 was an interesting year in that sense. It did give me a lot of good practice though, and a lot of good practice in discernment as well. So I was contacted in fall 2021 by this one person. I'm not going to name any names or anything. And the person's writing, my husband and I were so happy to have recently found your work online. We have been on a path of ascension, awakening for many years, and we're clients of Lisa Renee's for a long time. Maybe you know her when she still did private sessions. This is always the kicker. You know, these people don't give private sessions anymore. Like none of the people that I've so far reviewed and that are going to be reviewed in the future, they don't give private sessions. You know, as someone who actually took sessions with Elizabeth April and also took a workshop with Phil Good in the past, I know exactly that these sessions are absolute worthless, they're garbage, and they're also very dangerous and misleading. So I took a few sessions with Elizabeth April where I was, in the last one, it was so bad, I even demanded my money back, and there was obviously no reply from that person. But these sessions are very dangerous. When you see through them, they're very dangerous, misleading. And in her case, it turns out they put a whole bunch of stuff into her energy field too. So they're just saying, we're looking forward to connecting and working with you and all the things. And so this couple, you know, as lovely as they are, they were really under this huge illusion that they're almost already in 5D. You know, they had children too, which really hurt me to see, because I'm like, okay, so at this point, it's not just about you and her or you and him. At this point, you're parents to children, and you're trying to put your psyop onto your kids somehow, because I'm pretty sure when someone's just so bought up by this agenda, they're transferring it over into parenting styles and all of that too. So for me, that's where I see the real danger. You know, people who are really under the psyop, okay, you can be under your psyop alone, but if you're actually transferring that over onto your child, raising your child vegan, which is pretty malnourishing at a certain stage, especially as a teenager, you need meat no matter what, because you're growing so much. But you're you know, raising them vegan, you're raising them in the sense of, oh, you're in a 5D consciousness ascension. By the time you're an adult, you're going to be in a whole new world, a new earth, and all of that. So I was already very apprehensive about that, because I'm like, it's, you know, everyone can have a kid, don't get me wrong, but there is a damage here, and that really hurts to see. Once you see through all these deceptions, there is a damage, right? And the damage is going to be, the child has to at one point just get rid of all of that and start new somehow, because it's kind of like you're being raised super religious in a similar way, right? And you kind of have to un-F yourself from all those programs that your parents and society is putting on you. So I saw that like in a similar way with these people. But basically the session insight that came through, so we're going to start with her, was there was a regular stuff like removals, cord removals. So this is the shamanic healings that I do. You can find more info on my website, pleiadianhealer.com. But basically, the main point was there were always these cords and implants that tried to keep her in a different reality. And I do think they came from Lisa Renee. Whoever gave that healing to her and said they were Lisa Renee, I'm pretty sure it was her though. There was a thick cord over the third eye causing interference with psychic insight. So that was interesting to me, because it kind of feels like Lisa Renee put that over to really mess with her psychic insight, so that these people have to come back over and over again and keep requesting sessions, which obviously costs money, right? So people who know, whoever took a session with me, I'm from a self-empowering standpoint. You have one session with me, and I usually don't say have another session. For me, I'd rather people find their own path, their own power through one session than keep coming back over and over again. So that's my standpoint. That's the school of thought that I was taught to when I did my training a few years back. So I don't want to attract the same people over and over again, the same victims over and over again. But for a lot of these new agers and psychics, they want people to keep coming back. You know, that's why I also have all these courses out there, like the shamanic healing course, so that you can actually teach yourself how to do that, or you can learn from me how to do that, but you don't have to keep coming back. But it seems like with Lisa Renee and a lot of other psychics that we're going to dissect in the next few videos, they put these blockages on their clients. And in her case, it was a huge cord on her third eye for her to lose her psychic insight. Okay, so that was interesting to me. There were also other cords, but I don't think they were relevant to Lisa Renee. There was one in between, you know, like more like in the lower part of the body, which kept her grounded in a wrong reality, or reality not meant for her. And there were a bunch of chip implants. So AI chip implants, I'll have a video on that out again too. It basically has to do with They're being planted there to mess with your energy body, and you want to remove them. And it can happen in the astral. It can happen through interdimensional abductions, like ET abductions, all of that. So she had one in her head, which even turned into a black mass resembling parasites. So parasitic chip implants, for lack of a better word. Now, this is a good one. There was an intrusion in the form of a bug or a parasite over her heart. And it almost felt like a mantis being was being pulled out. So when I pulled it out, it felt like a mantis being, and it was causing a lot of disruption while doing so. So I almost feel like Lisa Renee works with the mantis beings, which are not good. And mantis beings do exist. They're a form of like, well, government psyop aliens or like interdimensionals, right? But that's really what it felt like to me. There are a lot of parasites in the womb area too. So when it's around like the womb area, and for a woman, it's the womb. For a guy, it's like the similar area, but they obviously don't have a womb. It always interferes with creativity and reproductive health. And then when we did the soul retrieval part, which is a crucial part of shamanic healing, we did go through a few other things that were going on with her. But basically, one vision that I got was there was this ghoul or ghost-like being sucking her soul out. And this all happened on a boat somehow. So I saw the vision of a boat. Now, the person had mentioned beforehand there was something on the boat that had happened that I kind of felt was connected to Lisa Renee too. So the person was actually on a boat at one time and she had fainted. That was in real life. But somehow there was this ghoul in the energetic realm and they were sucking her soul out. And then you just had to collect the soul pieces and infuse them back in. But yeah, basically that was it for her. So I felt there was really that one huge intrusion that had to do with the mantis being. That was for sure Lisa Renee. Now, with her partner, which was a man, there were also interesting things. And basically, he was cut. So it was a man, he was cut off below the feet somehow, which kept him ungrounded and feeling cut off from the energy body. So with her, there was kind of like cut off through the psychic insight, which was more like this upper head area. For him, in the session somehow, she must have cut him off below the feet, which if you feel ungrounded, like the feet, all of that area makes you feel grounded, right? The legs, all of that. So it was below that even, which keeps you grounded to the earth or whatever you're walking on. And it makes you feel cut off from the energy body. So that happened with him, was almost like the opposite she had done. And there were cords, there were intrusions or implants, or there was like another implant in his temple area. So that's like the head area. There were a few intrusions like in the hips and knees and feet, and that has to do with moving forward in the wrong direction and everything. But then the huge one during the soul retrieval was basically like, I'm just reading notes while I'm recording this, so that's why there's a bit of a delay here. So I saw his body, his energy body, basically as a clone. So it was a clone body in the lab. It was all plugged in and lifeless. Then I had to pull out the plugs and kind of like take the body away from that lab table and call back the soul pieces into his original energy body somehow. But I kind of did get that all of these things, like seeing his body in a lab and everything, that had come from Lisa Renee's session somehow. So obviously there's other things that go on during this session. You know, there are like intrusions coming from childhood and everything, and I can't blame Lisa Renee for that, obviously. But just this random stuff, that was definitely from her. Like energetically, it felt like it was coming from her. And the big major one really was the obstruction to the psychic insight with the female clients. Once again, they don't want me to talk about this. They're blocking up my throat. And then also the mantis being that was over her heart center. Now this is not like back in the days, like back like 1.5 years ago or a year ago, this would have been like, okay, that's weird. Why would they do that? But I've had a lot of sessions since where when people come to me and they're like, oh, I've had a session with this Native American shaman or whatnot, you know, all these people who are supposed to help me. What I actually do see is a lot of snakes in people's energy body. So they're kind of putting like a snake in their entire body. But I'll talk about that more in a different video, because there's going to be another video with more interesting insight, at least interesting for some people. This is just a quick one on Lisa Renee. It's not super long. This is not really reviewing her in that sense. We might go back in and review her properly. I know a lot of people are saying certain things about her, whether or not she's really a woman or a man or whatever. You know, I don't want to address it in this video. I just want to address my own personal experience. What I can say is she's not offering her sessions anymore, and there's probably a reason for that. I don't think it's because she's so high and mighty and burnt out and whatnot. I really do think a lot of people who don't offer these sessions anymore, there's something foul. They got to get a lot of backlash. I know for Elizabeth April, 100% that's the truth. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the truth for Lisa Renee. Feel Good, the same thing. And Magenta Pixie, probably the same thing too. So Gigi Young, all these people, you know, something went wrong. And yeah, they don't want to have that bad reputation maybe, but that's what I saw for her specifically. Let me know what you think. If you've experienced the same after a session with her, if you ever had a session with her. I kind of felt she had given up the sessions a long time ago though. So I'm not really sure. All she has right now is her website, and you can donate. That's great. It's like the same with others, like, oh, here's a donation link and blah, blah. It's the only, then she has like these memberships or whatever. Lisa Renee seems to be still a huge psyop among even people who follow me. You know, I know this one girl who I don't even follow anymore, but she was like on my behind for 2 years straight, being like, no, you're misinterpreting Lisa Renee and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're under her psyop, you know, like whatever she talks about. Like she talks about starseed awakening, extraterrestrial and ultra terrestrial. So she uses all these confusing words, right? Known as the Lyran Surians, Melchizedek Ur, and Aurora Guardians. Guided by guardians, Lysa was biologically upgraded to be downloaded to comprehend the science of ascension through the law of one. So all these laws are another psyop to keep you trapped in a different reality. Like I even just have to read her about page to know. That's all I need to read. I know everything now. You know, guardian groups. Okay, it kind of sounds like Elena Danan, right? So anyhow, I hope this resonates somehow. Thank you so much for your support, everything you do. I know it's tough sometimes to work through these psyops. You know, a lot of people who follow both truthers and psychics and channelers and all of that, they're having their world rocked and shaken sometimes by reviews like these. And a lot of people who are on the same page don't necessarily react that way though. So I know this is definitely having an impact on newer people. Now, if you found your way to my channel, definitely subscribe. Let's build up that community again. And I hope you have a wonderful day. You can find a lot of censored videos on my website too, PleiadianHealer.com, and then that /healing insight, which will give you more information on what I do during my sessions as well. But yeah, basically, this was a quick review on Lisa Renee, energy synthesis. Even hard to pronounce that, right? There's almost like there's a slither or a serpent or energy block or something in that. But have a good one, guys. Always enjoyable to do these. Bye-bye.